Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of African Economy. I am your host, Wang von Water. Now the top stories. Nigeria faces new pressures. South Korea sues $100 billion U.S. energy deal. South African gold miner strikes $1.8 billion deal to take over Australian firm. Kenya to offer 10 oil exploration blocks in first licensing round in 6 years. Plus, Angola to begin fuel production at first new refinery in 50 years. Angola's long-awaited Cabinda oil refinery, the first built since the country gained independence first 5 decades ago, will begin producing fuel before the end of 2025. Oil and Gas Minister Diamantino Azevedo stated these at an inauguration ceremony attended by President Joao Lourenço. According to reports, the 30,000 barrel per day BPD facility will be Angola's second refinery and is expected to reduce reliance on costly fuel import as the government faces out fuel subsidies that have sparked violent protests in recent years. Meanwhile, Angola currently imports about 72% of its fuel needs, roughly 3.3 million metric tons annually, as investment in the first phase of the Cabinda plant has risen to $500 to $555 million, higher than initial estimates due to pandemic-related delays and inflation. A second phase will double capacity to 60,000 barrels per day and add a hydro-cracking unit to produce diesel and jet fuel. The Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, is facing escalating tensions due to alleged ceasefire violations by insurgent groups and government. Attempts at peace negotiations mediated by Qatar have seen limited progress as agreed deadlines passed without significant advancement. M23 rebels and government forces exchange accusations of breaching previous agreement, reportedly leading to localized outbreaks of violence. A joint oversight committee was established under U.S. mediation to address allegations regarding Rwanda's involvement and monitor compliance. Colonel Nangaa, the leader of the Congo River Alliance, during a press conference stated that they are obliged to inform the Congolese people and the international community of the successive violations of the ceasefire, which are hindering the principal agreement. Under Qatari mediation, all parties signed a declaration of principles on July 19, promising to begin official discussions by August 8 and reached an agreement by August 18. However, those deadlines passed with little progress on a scene, according to report. Still in Central Africa, Africa's energy sector is gaining speed in 2025 as nations across the continent announced large oil and gas discoveries, issue new exploration licenses, and undertake ambitious surveys to extract unexploited reserves. The latest development in this lineup includes an oil exploration licensing agreement between the Congo Republic and Qatar. From Central Africa to the Atlantic coast, government and foreign oil companies are relying on hydrocarbons to drive economic growth and ensure energy independence. Namibia and South Africa are preparing for significant offshore drilling projects by 2026. Very recently, news reports indicated that Qatar Energy, one of the biggest energy firms in its continental region, and its partners received an exploration license for the Republic of Congo's Nzombo offshore block. Under the production sharing contract agreed with the Congolese government, Qatar Energy will own 35% and Total Energies, as the operator, owns 50%. In the southern part of Africa, similar to Namibia, which has been an oil prospect for the past year, French major Total Energies announced plans to begin offshore drilling in South Africa in 2026, pending regulatory approval. Namibia, which, as mentioned earlier, is now regarded as one of the most exciting offshore exploration regions in the world and could soon be designated the title of an African oil-producing nation. I beg your pardon. Harmony Gold, a leading South African gold producer, is pursuing international expansion by acquiring Australia's Mark Copper by $1.8 billion. Existing shareholders of Mark Copper have approved the deal, bringing it closer to completion, though regulatory approvals are still pending. The acquisition will diversify Harmony Gold's portfolio, introducing significant copper mining asset along its gold operations. South Africa's copper exports contribute significantly to its economy, though the nation remains a smaller player compared to other countries on the continent. The transaction, first announced in May, moved a step closer after Mark Copper shareholders voted overwhelmingly in favor of the deal. Harmony Gold, headquartered in Rand 14, is the country's largest gold producer by volume and operates a portfolio of underground and open pit mines concentrated in the Free State and Gauteng provinces, as well as surveys retreatment project. Harmony Chief Executive Bias Nell described the acquisition as a step that will fast-track the company's strategy of building a portfolio of long-life, high-margin asset. African citizens are paying some of the highest fees in the world for international passport, even as activists and policymakers call for a more unified continental immigration strategy. In many cases, these travel documents offer limited global mobility, with most countries outside Africa imposing additional restrictions or higher charges for acceptance. Across Africa, passports remain costly and often out of reach. Fee increases sometimes reflect government policies that unintentionally or deliberately discourage travel. Despite the growing importance of global mobility for trade, education and work, many nations charge fees that consume months of income while offering limited visa-free access. According to Henley Passport Index and recent government update, Nigeria will be ranked alongside other nations with high passport cost, including Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Zimbabwe. With that said, here are the 9 African countries where citizens pay the highest passport fees. First on the list is Sudan, with $100 as a passport fee. The minimum wage of Sudan is $60. Second on the list is Cameroon, Third is Zimbabwe with $170 passport fee. The minimum wage is $75. The Zimbabwe ranked 73rd on the list, and the visa-free destination is 65. Fourth on the list is Nigeria with 65 to $131 of passport fee. The minimum wage is $46, and they ranked 88 on the list with 45 visa-free destination. Fifth on the list is Algeria. Sixth is Uganda. The next is Democratic Republic of Congo, Sierra Leone, amongst others. With this update aimed to standardize fees and improved service delivery, they remain high relative to average earnings. In Nigeria, Immigration Service announced that effective September 1, 2025, citizens will pay 100,000 for a 32-page passport, 150,000 naira for a 64-page passport, and 200,000 naira for diplomatic passport. Even has nearly half of Nigerians and less than $31 per month, making international travel a costly undertaking. In Ghana, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Ablakwa, recently announced a reduction in the cost of ordinary passport booklets from 500 to 350 cedis, easing the financial burden on citizens. Globally, passport in countries such as Singapore, Japan and Germany highlights a stark contrast with much of Africa. And to help us break this down further, I'm now joined by Mr. Olalekon Ayinde, who is an economist. He has been following development around Africa's mobility challenges and will help us understand what these rising passport costs really mean for citizens and the economy at large. Thank you so much, Mr. Olalekon, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, let's begin this from the continental perspective. Why are passport fees across many African countries among the highest in the world, despite offering limited global mobility compared to other regions?
Okay, in seasons or times before the recent, African countries were not burdened to have a kind of single biometric kind of passport to be used across borders. Maybe some 15 years ago, every African country had their own unique kind of passport, which was, acceptable at all borders.
Okay.
But I think with the emergence of African countries coming together to form an economic zone, so there was need for them to have a unified kind of passports. And that was what brought about the biometric passports Nigeria and some other African countries use now. Now, the thing is, with the biometric passport, there is introduction of technology. Of course, it's a biometric passport. It has security pages. It has inks. It has chips in them. So the thing is, those things are not readily available in Africa or Nigeria, as the case is. So many times you will see that countries would have to source for materials used in producing passports in African countries from outside of Africa.
Okay.
Now, if you combine that with local currencies that weaken every day, every now, you understand why the cost is going up. Because number one, these things, the raw materials used for the production of passports are not in Africa. They have to be imported. So they source for foreign exchange to do that. Secondly, local currencies weaken every time countries seek to import goods from outside of their country. So these two factors put together is one of the reasons why you see that the cost of passport keeps increasing every day.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Let's bring this home to Nigeria. With the new fees ranging from 100,000 naira to 200,000 naira, that is several months' income for many citizens. What impacts do such costs have on Nigerians, particularly those seeking opportunities abroad for education, work, or even small-scale cross-border trade?
Oh, yeah. What that means is passports have become a necessary luxury for Nigerians, in the sense that many Nigerians travel abroad for business reasons, some for vacation, some for health reasons, and many young Nigerians equally travel for education. So with the jump in prices for passports, it automatically means there's going to be a kind of stimulation in the demand. What I mean is this: it is going to affect the demand in certain ways. Maybe people who would have ordinarily been able to afford would have to wait more. Businesses who would need to go on business trips because the cost of passports have gone up, or it's not even available even when they pay, means they would have to be delayed for some time. And what that does is it negatively impacts the economy. The cost of doing business with other parts of the world. If you have to import now, you have to wait a little bit. Prices of your imports may go up. Students who are traveling out of Nigeria for education may miss out on their admission. People who have health reasons to travel may be held indefinitely because of some of these factors. So those are some of the negative impacts this could bring about in the economy.
Okay, all right. Now, governments often justify these fee hikes as covering administrative and production costs. But do you believe that's the full story, or do these increases also act as a barrier that unintentionally or perhaps deliberately discourages international travel?
I guess because of the relationship the government has with its citizens. Sometimes when some of these discussions come up, it comes with a little bit of people believe they take it with a pinch of salt. But to be very honest, most of this does not directly come from the government, in the sense that is the cost of raw materials that is used in producing these things. Okay. But that's not to say that government too has not increased the cost of some of these things over the years, because the truth is, when the government saw that there was a tide of movements, especially for young Nigerians moving out to study, people who perceived that the economic realities of Nigeria were not too good, quite a number of people resigned from their employment here and relocated. So it's a kind of, we can't stop you people from leaving Nigeria, but we'll jack up the price so that it's a win-win situation for us. You leave, we make money; you stay, we make money. So yeah, that's the picture of what is happening.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's look ahead to the concrete reforms or the concrete reforms or strategies, perhaps under the African Union's free movement protocols. What would you suggest making African passports both more affordable or more powerful in terms of visa-free access?
Okay, so let me start with the affordability. I think we'd have to target some particular people when it comes to issuance of passports. People who are on business trips, I think they should be given priority when it comes to their passport issuance and delivery.
Okay.
I think government can do well by localizing the supply chain. That means some aspect of the production that is not readily available in Nigeria, over the long term, they can look at ways by which they can bring it home so that it doesn't cost much. I think another thing they can do is transparency in terms of unit and contract terms, because as you know, it's not the Nigerian government who does this thing. It's contracted out to, and people who do it. So maybe working on those contract terms, service improvement, tracking customer satisfaction feedbacks based on people who need passports could go a long way in helping affordability. And in terms of strengthening our passports,
okay,
I think the way passports are strengthened is through economic power. People have more respect for countries who are able to come to their countries to do business with huge sums of capital. People don't show respect to countries who come to their country looking for state of abode, looking for all those kind of, there's a war going on in my country, there's this refugees. So the thing is, African countries should desist or restrain themselves from presenting themselves as paupers to the global community, in the sense of, we need trade, we don't need aid. We have what it takes to do business with any part of the country in the world or any continent. So let's put our right foot forward. And if someone keeps coming to your house to beg for food every time, there comes a time you just don't have any respect for them. And unfortunately, that's the picture Africa has when it comes to the global world. So we just have to get our house in order, do business with people, not asking for help all the time. I guess that's the only way we can strengthen our passports, strengthen our look in the global community.
All right, thank you so much. We hope that will change the narrative for millions of Africans. Thank you so very much, Mr. Olalekon Ayinde. We appreciate your time and perspective on this important discussion.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, clearly this issue goes beyond the cost of a document. It is about Africa's access, equity, and global competitiveness. You are still watching African Economy on Spectrum TV. When we return, we will shift the focus to how Nigeria is facing new pressure as South Korea seals $100 billion US energy deal. Stay with us.